All right, let's talk about one of the biggest, most intimidating hurdles for any student or researcher, finding a great research topic. It can feel like this huge mystery, right? Well, forget that. We're going to break it down and show you it's not some kind of magic. It's actually a skill, and it's one you can absolutely learn. You know the feeling, right? You're just staring at a blank page, that little cursor just blinking and blinking. You've got this massive project looming over you, and you have no idea where to even start. It is just so frustrating.
And it's so easy to feel like everyone else just gets it. Like they can pull these amazing ideas out of thin air, and you're the only one who's stuck. But listen, I promise you, it's not just you. This isn't some personal failing. It is a totally universal challenge. I'm talking students, seasoned pros, everybody goes through this.
But here's the good news, the really good news. Finding a topic isn't magic. It's a process. And that means it's a skill you can learn. And today, we're going to walk through not one, not two, but 13 different strategies to prove it. So, you ready? Let's dive in. Okay, so first things first, we're going to start with the most accessible stuff there is. We're looking inward and around you. Think of this as building your own personal toolkit, using all the resources you already have at your fingertips. And this toolkit is seriously powerful. First up, what are you genuinely curious about? What do you actually find interesting? Because your own curiosity, that's the best fuel you're going to have for a long project. Next, literally go back and look at your old course syllabi. See any themes that keep popping up over and over? Those are usually the big, important debates in your field. And hey, don't forget the people around you. Talk to your professors, jump into some online forums or research groups. Seriously, these conversations are where the sparks really start to fly. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Talk to a professor. That can sound super intimidating, right? So let's break this down into a simple game plan. You can't just walk in and say, hey, I need a topic. That's not going to work. First, you got to do a little homework. Find one of their recent papers and actually read it. Then come up with a couple of smart questions that prove you've engaged with their work. That way, when you meet, you're not asking for a handout. You're starting a real conversation about their research and your own ideas. Trust me, the feedback you'll get is going to be pure gold. All right, so you've looked inward. Now it's time to look outward. Our next big strategy is all about tuning into what's happening in your field right now. Like, what is the current buzz? What are people talking about today? This is how you land on a topic that's not just interesting, but truly relevant. And this is really a strategic choice you have to make. You could pick a topic that's, well, saturated, one that's been studied to death, but you'll be fighting tooth and nail just to find a tiny new angle. Or you can target an emerging trend, and that's where the magic happens. We're talking fresh research gaps, way more potential for impact, and, a real chance to be a pioneer in your field. So, where do you find what's happening now? Okay, here are the hot spots. Start with conference abstracts. Think of them like movie trailers for the latest unpublished research. Then, look up calls for papers, or CFPs. This is literally journals telling you, hey, these are the topics we want to publish right now. You should also follow the money. See what kinds of projects are getting grants. That tells you what the big funding bodies think is important. And don't sleep on AI tools. Things like Elicit or Research Rabbit can help you map out current trends in the literature super fast. Okay, let's make this super concrete. Imagine a journal, say the Journal of AI Ethics, puts out a call for papers on AI and misinformation. That's a huge topic, right? Your job is to zoom in and find a specific angle. So instead of just, something vague, you could ask a pointed question like, how can we use generative AI to actually create educational content that debunks fake news? See what happened there? You just took a massive theme and sharpened it into a focused original research question. Boom. All right, our third big strategy is kind of counterintuitive. It's about looking backward in order to move forward. You see, the existing research, all those papers you have to read, it's not just a chore you have to get through. No, it's a treasure map. It literally points you to where your own contribution is needed the most. And this map has a secret weapon hidden in plain sight, usually at the end of every single research paper. It's the discussion or conclusion section. This is where the authors basically tell you everything they couldn't figure out. They list the limitations of their own study, and then they suggest what other researchers should investigate next. I'm not kidding, they are basically handing you research topics on a silver platter. So, what you're on the hunt for in these archives is what we call a research gap. All that means is it's an unanswered question, a problem nobody's tackled yet, or maybe a totally new way of looking at something old. Finding that gap, and then trying to fill it, that's the whole point of your project. Okay, so the big question is, where are these gaps hiding? They're not always obvious, but there are definitely some key places to look that will seriously boost your chances of finding one. So here it is, your treasure map. Like we just said, those future research sections are your #1 spot. Next up, hunt down recent literature reviews. I mean, the whole job of a lit review is to summarize a field and point out what we still don't know. Another pro tip, use academic databases to see which papers aren't getting a lot of citations. They could be overlooked gems. And my personal favorite strategy, look for contradictions. When you find two studies that come to the exact opposite conclusions, oh man, that is a debate just begging for a researcher like you to come in and help figure it out. Okay, let's take a breath. We've looked inward at your own passions, we've looked outward to what's happening right now, and we've looked backward into the archives of past research. Now, let's pull all this together and talk about how you actually find your starting point. The thing is, you now have a toolkit with 13 powerful strategies, and you don't have to use all of them. That's the beauty of it. If one approach isn't working for you, you just move on to the next one. You have 12 others to try. That blank page, it doesn't have power over you anymore. And this really brings us to the most important point of all, a total shift in how you think about this. You've got to stop thinking of yourself as some kind of treasure hunter, looking for a perfect topic that's just out there somewhere. Instead, start thinking of yourself as an architect. You're the one taking the raw materials, your own curiosity, a gap you found in the research, a current event, and you are actively building something new and important. Because a great topic isn't just found, it's built. It's a project that should excite you and one that has the potential to push the entire field forward, even just a little bit. So, you've got the toolkit, you've got the perspective. The only question left is, what are you going to build?